So it has officially been 2 months now that we have our tiny house, so we thought we would sit down today and give you our first impressions of tiny house living.
Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, our names are Steph and Katie, and we're a married couple from Canada. Back in 2022, we bought a waterfront lot on one of the Southern Gulf Islands here in BC, and last summer we started the process of building a luxury tiny house for our remote property. After working with a local builder for the past 9 months, our dream finally became a reality and our custom tiny home and office pod were delivered to our land. The transport and delivery was very complicated, and it took several days to get everything into place. But we're so excited that we can finally celebrate the end of this huge project. Our house is a 37.5-foot tiny home on wheels with over 300 square feet of living space. It was built by Summit Tiny Homes, and it's a fully custom version of their modern bohemian model. We did tons of luxury upgrades and customized every aspect of this house. If you want to see a full tour, we already have one up on our channel, as well as a video documenting the delivery process. We also did an additional 100 square foot office pod that was designed to match our tiny home. This space will double as a guest room, so along with our custom desk, we also put in a great sofa bed and tons of built-in storage. We are so in love with our house and feel very lucky to be spending our first summer here on the island.
So my first impression, honestly, is that I love it so much. I love our
Great
house.
choice. We're so happy we did this.
10 out of 10. In general, I just feel like I walk around all day being like, I love our house. I love this about our house. I love that about our house. I love it so much.
Yeah, it makes all the hard work of planning everything worth it.
It does. So we are definitely very happy with our home, but we thought we would sit down today and just give you an honest overview of the good, the bad, our favorite things, our least favorite things, everything like that. Just an honest look at how it's been so far.
Yeah. So I think in general, an overall favorite of both of ours is just all the things we customized, all the choices, the decisions we made. They were so well suited to us, and we spent so much time making sure we were making the right decisions, and honestly, it really paid off. We walk around the house and we're just so happy with the choices we made.
It's so well suited to us because we were really intentional about the layout and the design and just every decision we made, and it definitely paid off because it just feels like it works perfectly for our life, our lifestyle, day-to-day living. And then in terms of our least favorite thing, honestly, I can't even think of one. I feel like there isn't a general thing that I'm not enjoying. There are definitely small pain points and things like that, which we'll get into, but there's really nothing that's jumping out at me that's like, oh, that's been difficult.
Nothing major, that's for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would say the one thing that maybe surprised me and was different than our expectations was just the learning curve that comes along with living in a tiny house. We did a walkthrough of our home before it got delivered. We asked as many questions as we could think of to ask. We tried to be as prepared as possible, but I just wasn't quite ready for how much there would be to learn after our house got delivered. And granted, we did have a very chaotic delivery. It just felt like we were kind of on our own and there was a lot to figure out.
Yeah, so we've lived in a house before, we've lived in condos before, and we're not really all that familiar with RVs. So the house is definitely set up more like an RV where you would connect your propane and connect your water and connect your sewer line basically out to your septic system. So all of those things, I think if we had more experience with RVs, we probably would have felt a little bit more comfortable. And because we didn't have a chance to do a walkthrough of those things, we did feel a little bit kind of left to figure it out on our own.
And we definitely have. I think we got into the swing of it fairly well. And at this point, I feel confident and comfortable with those things. But that's really the only thing that surprised me at first, was just kind of like more of a learning curve than I expected.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, in terms of actually living in a tiny house, I feel like the obvious question for most people would be, how does it feel to be in such a small space? Like, it is tiny. How does that work? And honestly, it doesn't feel like, I haven't felt once like it's too small. It doesn't feel too small.
In terms of the actual square footage, it honestly feels fine. And because our layout was, we thought it out with how we were going to live in the space and how we were going to use the space. So it definitely works for us. Obviously, as well, having the extra space in the office really does help. And it gives us an extra 100 square feet, but also just a space outside of the house. It's been really key to being really functional with the two spaces.
Yeah, I think that being so intentional with the layout and the design and all of that really paid off because it does function so well for us. It doesn't feel like we're in a small space. It honestly mostly feels like we have more space than we do in our condo in the city, whereas we definitely have like significantly less square footage. But
yeah, it really doesn't feel like that at all.
No, it functions so well. It's such a smart design. There is so much storage. Like all of those things really go a long way. Our whole storage loft, we barely use. Like there is so much more space for us to put things. Then the other loft, like the main loft, which we're going to do kind of like a cozy little den, like we've barely even used it. Like we've only gone up there a handful of times. So the fact that we have square footage that we're not even using makes me feel like we do have so much space. And I think anyone who hasn't been in such a small space would be surprised at how well it functions for daily living.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously having a lot of outdoor space, that makes it feel a lot bigger as well.
We'll see
in
how
the
we
summer.
Feel. Yeah, we'll see how
we're outside a lot. That's quite different than maybe some of the colder months. But
yeah.
So even though we don't live here full time, we definitely could, and we definitely could store everything we need to. We have such functional storage as well because we have so much space on the land. There's always options of having more utility sheds and other storage outside of both the office and the house.
Yeah.
We do have the small shed that has our water equipment and everything like that. So there's a little bit of outdoor storage, but we could definitely build on and have more, although we really don't need it because we have tons in both the spaces. So
yeah.
In terms of our day-to-day in the house, I feel like we're finding a really good groove, and we're really happy with having the two spaces and having kind of alone time in the house and in the office, and taking Theo out around the property and around the area. I feel like we've got a really good routine going, and we're figuring out how we really want to use the space, and so far it's working really nicely for us.
Yeah, it is. It functions really well on a day-to-day basis. We've spent quite a bit of time here over the past 2 months and done all the things like cooking in the kitchen, getting laundry done, doing, just regular chores and all of that. And all of that feels really easy, really functional. Having a small amount of space definitely gets messy quickly, but then you can also really clean it up quickly.
It's it doesn't take long. Vacuuming the floor takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to keep clean, which is great.
Yeah.
It's also really easy to cool the space down and heat the space up if we need to, because it's so small, and that's also a perk. Makes it more energy efficient as well, so that's great.
Having less space to take care of and maintain, it's less work. Like when we get here and we unpack our car, like there's just stuff everywhere, and it's like, oh, where is all this gonna go? And then a few minutes later, it's like everything's been tucked away and it's just back to being cozy and clean. So in terms of this big transition, because it has been a big transition for us, I would say that we are starting to feel settled. It is starting to feel more like home, but also we recognize that this is going to be an ongoing project and there will always be things to do, and we're trying to really pace ourselves because there's so much that we want to get done. We can't do it all right away.
It will take some time, and we know that that's part of the fun too.
While this has definitely been a transition, I will say that the house did feel like ours, and it did feel like home immediately, just because we put so much love and care into every little detail. This has been such a process over the past year, and by the time it was done, it really did feel like ours. And so as soon as we were actually in the house, it was just like, yeah, this is our house.
Yeah, no, that's true. It did feel like home immediately. And then all the little things we've added, just with cozy blankets and rugs and things, that's just added to the comfort level. So
yeah, I'm excited to continue decorating and continuing to just make it more homey, and that is definitely an ongoing process, but it's been really fun and we've definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah. In terms of how tiny house living has been for our family and just like for our lifestyle, overall has been really, really great. The space has worked really well for us. Part of the reason why is because we do really like each other. We do like to spend time together. Our communication is good, and we are a strong team. Those things I definitely think are key in tiny house living. The space is small.
It is.
It's narrow. If someone's walking by, like, it's going to be tight, and you are going to interact with one another quite a bit. So that is definitely something to consider. For us, it works well.
We've been in lots of small spaces before. We've traveled so much together, being in, hotel rooms, and spaces smaller than this. For sure. And I would say that part didn't feel like much of an adjustment. And even living with a pet, like our dog just loves to be next to us at all times. So he doesn't need his own space.
No, not at all.
So I think for all of us, that part has been a really easy transition. And I mean, it's something we obviously thought about and making sure that this was the right move for us. And it absolutely has been. And I think that the way we designed our space and the way that we thought through everything on the property and having the separate office and all of that, like, it's worked so well. And I'm so pleased with how it all came together to really suit our lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. So of course there are special considerations when living in a tiny house, and for us there are even more considerations given the fact that we are on a remote island with very little access to basically anything. So of course not everyone's situation is going to look like ours. Some people will have more access to municipal water and sewer and all of those things that just make it a little easier. Even a gas line versus having to lug 30-pound propane tanks down a hill.
Yeah.
There are definitely easier situations than what we have set up here. For us, we were very happy to take on the challenges of this property and this location, and we are quite resourceful, I would say. You know, we're happy to do this, and it's kind of part of the fun of the adventure of living this way.
I would say in general, tiny house living is definitely working very well for us. And now that we've actually been doing it for a little while, we can really feel that, you know, some of the things that might be a little more difficult are still definitely worth it for us. And we're seeing what all those realities are actually like in terms of, you know, what the ongoing costs are going to be, what the maintenance is going to be like, how difficult this type of lifestyle actually is. And I would say that it's definitely feeling worthwhile for us so far at this stage, 2 months in.
I mean, so far we're starting to figure out what things are going to cost longer term. For example, we had no idea how long a propane tank was going to last. We were pleasantly surprised that we got like a full 2 months out of one 30-pound tank.
I was shocked at that because our hot water runs off the propane and our stove and oven run off the propane. I couldn't believe it lasted that long. Every time I took a shower, I was like, is this going to be the day it's going to run out? But no, it just kept going forever.
Yeah, so that was a nice surprise. I think it helps that we have more energy efficient appliances, new ones as well. So I'm sure if you had a really old stove or just older appliances that aren't going to be as energy efficient, your costs for electricity and gas and all that stuff will be higher. So
for sure,
another perk of going with something new.
Definitely. We also haven't been running heat at all because it's summer. We've only turned the air conditioning on like maybe twice. We're in a really kind of temperate climate where it hasn't been too hot, it hasn't been too cold. So we'll see how those costs are in the winter.
Yeah, true.
But so far, everything's been very reasonable. Our internet bill, everything like that's been very reasonable. If you're interested in all the ongoing costs, we could do a video breaking down kind of our monthly costs in the tiny house. Yeah.
Overall, we definitely love our choice to do tiny house living, and we love the choices we've made for our specific house. Pretty much, we are
in love with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure things will come up and parts will be difficult. And I'm sure, maybe things will change. But
especially as it gets colder, I'm sure there'll be other considerations.
But then we can just make it all cozy.
It's true.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to the winter. I think in general, this is definitely a very different way of living. It wouldn't be for everyone. I would say anyone considering it, really think hard about your lifestyle, about your day-to-day routine, and what would make it work for you. I think one of the reasons why we're loving it is because we were so intentional about our house and our build and doing it all custom and really thinking about every single decision that went into it and how it would impact actually living here.
That's huge for A, deciding if you even want to do something like this, and B, if you do decide it's for you, then taking all of the considerations of how you're going to use the house and figuring out a layout or choosing a layout or designing a layout that's going to work for what you specifically are going to use it for.
Yeah, everyone's individual needs are so different, right? Like what in the house you prioritize, what space you're going to use most, all of that. And we could do a video about that too. We were really intentional about our needs, like what part of the house did we think was most important for us specifically, and that's going to be different for everyone.
There's obviously so much more we could say about all of this, so if you have any specific questions, let us know in the comments. And we'll of course be doing a lot of other videos on specific topics on the property and the house, so stay tuned for that because there's definitely more to come.
Yeah, make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any future content, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye!